Hey everyone, Dr. Monica Du here, pediatrician. This is part two of our breastfeeding talk. I wanted to go ahead and just take some time to share with you my own personal experience with breastfeeding, the challenges that can be faced, and also the triumphs that can be met if only we persist. So, as I had mentioned to you all before, I do have three beautiful children of my own, two girls and one boy, and I can definitely tell you from my personal experience that, each birth, each breastfeeding process has been very different. With my first one, my first girl, with her, of course, I was a new mom. I was in, of course, medicine at that time, but even with that background, it was still challenging for me. So that's one thing I wanted to definitely mention to you, that it doesn't matter how much information you have, how much background, how much knowledge, how much training you may have in a specific area, when it comes to your own personal situation and story, it can still be a challenge and struggle. So with my first one, new mom, wanted to definitely get into that breastfeeding regimen, but it was difficult. She wasn't latching on as well, or I wasn't positioning her as well at that time. I would demonstrate to moms myself, but when it came to my own personal story and how to actually do it, amongst all the stresses that can come with just delivering a new baby and everything, it was difficult for me. And actually, just to let you know, it took me a good month or so to really get into a routine where I felt like she was latching on great and the milk flow was good and I was getting in enough, so that I could provide necessary nutrition for her. And actually, with my first one, I did have to supplement a little bit for some time until the milk supply was sufficient enough. So definitely do not be afraid to supplement with formula if you need to. It's not going to take anything away, and actually, it will help you so that you don't have to feel so stressed to get that milk, get that milk, get that milk, because feeding is just a constant, constant, constant thing, especially when your infant is just born. They have lots and lots of needs at that time, they have lots of nutritional requirements that they need to be met. And if you are stressing and you don't have enough milk supply in, you got to get that baby fed. Don't worry about whether you're interrupting your goals of breastfeeding every day. You can get there, but you want to make sure that that baby is fed. You don't want that baby to be malnourished and ill just because you want to meet your own goal. Don't worry about it. The main thing is to get that baby properly fed and on time. And babies usually feed around every 2.5 to 3 hours when they're first born. So that means you got to have a lot of milk ready. You have to have a lot of nutrition readily available. Now their tummies are pretty small, so they actually don't take in that much. Just about an ounce or so, or even sometimes half an ounce. Little bit of that colostrum that comes in that first milk. That's all that they are going to be taken in. So keep that in mind too. Don't stress yourself. You don't need tons of ounces of milk in the first, few days. It's gonna increase, it's gonna get there, but for the first few days they just need little amounts and every 2.5 to 3 hours. So don't stress yourself. If you need to supplement with some formula, get your pack of formula, have it available if ever you need it. Then that way you don't have to stress yourself and you can peacefully get the milk supply in as you can do it with time. And then definitely another thing just to mention is that as you are, if you need to supplement with formula, if you are doing that, pump at the same time. Feed baby with the formula, but you should be pumping after you're finished so that you can build up that supply. Because the more that you do not pump, is the more likely you're going to have less milk and less because your body is being sent a signal that you need to do less and produce more. So the more milk you will get is from the more activity you do to get it. So that means more release of milk, more release of milk, more release of milk will bring in, of course, more. So you'll be able to produce more. So just keep that in mind. So don't stress yourself. That's one of the main things I wanted to get across is don't stress yourself. I was feeling overwhelmed and stressed with my first girl because I felt like I wasn't bringing in enough. Even with my background, I still felt stressed out, and it happens like that. You are facing a very new and important challenge in life and being a mom, and you want to be able to provide. So it can be stressful, but just remember, baby just needs little amounts each time, and the more you feed, the more you get that baby on, is the easier it will get for you and for baby. Because remember now, baby didn't do this before. This is a new skill that they need to develop just the same as it is for you. So you both are learning together, and just be patient and keep yourself as stress-free as possible. So, that was one thing I wanted to get across, especially in light of my own example with my first girl. Now, with my second girl, who was a little bit easier, of course, because I had my first one to have an example from, but still it was challenging. The latching on and kind of getting used to the routine was a little bit better, but dependent upon the stressors that I had in my life at that time, it was difficult. Sometimes the milk supply would start to wane just because I would be away from her sometimes for long periods, working, training, and I just didn't have the flexibility that I wanted at that time to be able to pump and store and be close to her as much as I wanted, but at all the times that I had where I could be close to her, I would definitely get her on, get her on, get her on. So it wasn't as difficult as the first one. So for my first two girls, I had lasted around about 6 months or so, which was, so exciting for me because it was difficult. I had a lot of stressors at that time with my training, and it was just a triumph for me that I was actually able to even last for the 6 months. And then after that, you know what? I had to go ahead and supplement with formula, and that's just fine. They are still going to be healthy, but of course, we all hear that saying that breast is best, and it is. As I had told you before in the first video with breastfeeding info, that there are just so many multiple benefits of breastfeeding for baby and for us. And now with my third born, my son, it was definitely a plan for me that I wanted to be even further along in the time period of breastfeeding. I wanted to go for even about a year at least. And you know what? I was able to do that and even beyond. And he is beyond a year and I'm still able to do it, thankfully. So it can be done. It definitely can be done. And you just gotta keep focused, keep that beautiful baby's face in mind, keep yourself stress free, hydrate yourself, make sure that you eat well and balanced meals so that you can provide the necessary nutrients that you need for your body to be able to produce the milk. Because if you're stressed out and you're not eating well and you are not hydrating yourself, you're not going to be able to supply the needs for your baby that you need to have supplied for them. So, definitely keep these things in mind. I just wanted to share with you my own personal story about breastfeeding and to let you know that once you are well aware and you arm yourself with information, when baby is here, it's just going to be an easier transition. It's not going to be obstacle free. It may not be challenge free, but it can be done triumphantly. All right, I'll see you soon in part 3.